What if the biggest thing holding you back right now is not your body, not your bank account, not your relationship, but the invisible programming running your life? What if you're not actually broken? What if you're just repeating a pattern you never consciously chose? Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you would change? You said this time would be different. This time you would stay disciplined. This time you would stop sabotaging yourself. This time you would finally become the version of you that you keep imagining in your head. But somehow you end up in the same place again. The same excuses, the same emotional triggers, the same habits, the same frustration. Why? Because most people are not fighting their problem, they're fighting their programming. And if the pattern stays the same, the outcome stays the same. Today, I'm going to show you something powerful: the Neuro Rewire process, NRP. And by the end of this video, I want you to understand one life-changing truth. Whatever you're struggling with can change, but not by trying harder, by rewiring deeper. Most people try to fix their life from the outside. They try a new diet, a new workout, a new business strategy, a new productivity system, a new morning routine, a new relationship standard. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, it works. They feel motivated. They feel focused. They feel like they've finally found the answer. But then something happens. Stress hits. Doubt returns. Life gets hard. Old emotions come back. And suddenly, they go right back to who they used to be. Not because they're lazy, not because they're weak, not because they don't want it badly enough, but because behavior always returns to identity. And identity is built on programming. Your results are not created by effort alone. They are created by your internal system, your beliefs, your emotional associations, your nervous system responses, your habits, your self-image, your subconscious expectations. And if that internal system is still wired for stress, wired for fear, wired for scarcity, wired for inconsistency, then even when you make progress, you will unconsciously pull yourself back to what feels familiar. That is why so many people stay stuck for years. They are trying to create a new life with an old program. So who is this really for? Let's make this simple. This is for you if there's any part of your life where you keep thinking, why do I keep doing this? Why do I always end up here again? Why can't I just change? Why does everything feel harder for me than it should? If you feel stuck in your body, stuck in your finances, stuck in your confidence, stuck in your relationships, stuck in your mindset, stuck in your work, stuck in your identity, then this is for you. Because being stuck is rarely random. It usually means one thing. A pattern has been repeated so many times that it now feels like you. But it's not you. It's conditioning. It's wiring. It's rehearsal. It's a learned internal loop. And learned loops can be changed. If you're a woman between 30 and 45 and your body feels like it's fighting you, the stubborn belly fat, the bloating, the cravings, the low energy, the hormonal chaos, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, your body just doesn't respond like it used to. Or maybe you're a man trying to build muscle, gain strength, improve your energy, improve your libido, but you constantly feel drained, stressed, unfocused, and off. Or maybe your struggle shows up through your skin: acne, eczema, inflammation, embarrassment, the feeling of not wanting to be seen. And yes, those things are physical, but they are also deeply connected to stress patterns, identity patterns, self-image patterns, nervous system patterns. Because when your body is constantly living in survival, it becomes harder to heal, harder to regulate, harder to transform. So, no, this is not just physical. It is also neurological. Maybe your struggle is money, no savings, bad habits, impulse spending, debt, constant pressure, always earning but never feeling secure. Or maybe you work hard every single day, but your life still feels limited. You want growth, you want freedom, you want peace. But you keep making decisions from fear instead of power. And that matters. Because people do not just earn from skill, they also earn from identity, from standards, from self-worth, from tolerance, from what they subconsciously believe they are allowed to have. If deep down you are wired for scarcity, you will sabotage abundance. If deep down you are wired to expect instability, peace will feel unfamiliar. If deep down you don't believe you can keep money, you will find ways to lose it. That is why this is not only a strategy issue, it is also a programming issue. Maybe you're trying to build something online. You post content, nobody watches. You have ideas, but no consistency. You start projects, but don't finish them. You open a store, but sales don't come. You run ads, but the numbers disappoint you. You compare yourself to everyone else and start doubting your own value. And from the outside, it looks like a business problem. But often, it goes deeper than that. Because visibility triggers fear. Selling triggers fear. Being judged triggers fear. Consistency exposes identity conflict. And success itself can trigger discomfort if your nervous system is still wired to chaos. So you delay, you overthink, you hesitate, you self-edit, you disappear, you restart again and again. That is why so many people never build momentum, not because they lack potential, because their internal wiring keeps interrupting execution. Maybe your struggle is love. Dating feels exhausting. You keep choosing the wrong people. You chase people who pull away. You fear rejection. You settle for less than you deserve. You confuse attention with connection. You say you want love, but when it gets close, you panic. Or maybe you're already in a relationship, but it feels heavy. The same arguments, the same distance, the same silence, the same trust issues, the same emotional walls. And underneath all of it, there is often old programming. What did love teach you? What did pain teach you? What did rejection teach you? What did your past train you to expect? Because your patterns in relationships are often not random. They are rehearsed emotional responses. And until those responses are rewired, your relationship may change, but your pattern won't. Maybe the battle is happening in your own mind. Overthinking, procrastination, fear of failure, fear of judgment, negative self-talk, no discipline, no consistency, no peace. Or maybe you look strong on the outside, but inside you feel exhausted. Burnout, pressure, restlessness, always chasing more, never feeling enough, never feeling safe enough to slow down. And here's what most people never realize. Your thoughts are not always the truth. Very often, they are the echo of an old pattern, a repeated emotional loop, a conditioned response, a survival adaptation that once protected you, but now controls you. So the goal is not just to think positive. The goal is to interrupt the loop and rewire the source. Maybe you've lost your drive. You want to train, but can't stay consistent. You start strong, then disappear. You hit a plateau and take it personally. You stop trusting the process. You stop trusting yourself. Or maybe it's your career. You hate your job. You feel underpaid, unseen, underused, stuck in a life that no longer fits the person you want to become. Or maybe you're a woman carrying more than people realize. The pressure to look good, stay strong, hold everything together, be productive, be available, be confident, be calm, be everything, all the time. Maybe you're a single mother. Maybe you're rebuilding yourself. Maybe you're trying to become someone stronger while life keeps demanding more from you. And if that's you, understand this. You do not need more guilt. You do not need more pressure. You need a new internal pattern. Because all of these struggles may look different on the surface, but underneath them, the root is often the same. A subconscious program keeping you in the same emotional identity. Here is the truth most people never hear clearly. Every repeated problem in your life is connected to a repeated pattern in your brain, body, and identity. And patterns can be changed, not with random motivation, because motivation fades, not with self-criticism, because shame weakens change, not with forcing yourself for 3 days and collapsing on day 4. Real change happens when you stop fighting symptoms and start rewiring the system creating them. That is what NRP is about. Not surface-level positivity, not empty affirmations, not pretending everything is fine, but identifying the pattern, interrupting the pattern, replacing the pattern, and repeating the new one until it becomes natural. Because when the pattern changes, your behavior changes. When behavior changes, your identity changes. And when identity changes, your life begins to follow. Step 1 is analysis. Before you can change your life, you have to see your pattern clearly. Most people are stuck because they are too close to their own behavior. They only notice the result. They don't notice the trigger. They don't notice the emotional sequence. They don't notice the belief underneath it. So in this step, we slow everything down. We look at your habits, your reactions, your emotional loops, your repeated decisions, your excuses, your environments, your self-talk. We ask, what keeps happening? When does it happen? What triggers it? What belief is feeding it? What identity is protecting it? Because awareness is not just helpful. Awareness is power. When you can finally see the program, you stop being unconsciously controlled by it. This is where clarity begins. And from there, you follow a focused structure, not chaos, not guessing, not random effort. A clear direction, a clear pattern map, a clear first 7 days of action. Step 2 is reverse programming. This is where you stop letting the old pattern run automatically. Because most patterns survive for one reason. They are unconscious. They happen fast. They happen often. They happen before you even realize you're doing them. So in this phase, the goal is interruption. You catch the trigger. You catch the impulse. You catch the emotional habit before it takes over. You begin exposing the lie inside the pattern. The lie that says, "This is just who I am. This never works for me. I always ruin things. I can't change. I'm too far behind. I'll start later." No, those are not facts. Those are old internal instructions. And once you start interrupting those instructions, the old program begins to weaken. This is where many people fail in life, not because change is impossible, but because they never stay conscious long enough to interrupt the loop. That is why this step needs structure, repetition, consistency, a second focused 7-day phase. Because rewiring is not a moment, it is a process. Step 3 is rewiring. Now that the old pattern is exposed and interrupted, you begin installing something new. A new response, a new behavior, a new belief, a new emotional association, a new self-image. And this is where transformation starts becoming real. Because at this point, you're no longer just trying to stop being the old you. You are actively practicing becoming the new you. The version of you who follows through. The version of you who feels stable. The version of you who handles stress differently. The version of you who respects their body, who builds, who leads, who chooses better, who stays aligned. This stage is not about perfection. It is about repetition with intention. Because every time you think differently, act differently, regulate differently, and respond differently, you are reinforcing a new pathway. And eventually, what once felt hard begins to feel natural. Step 4 is mastery. This is where change stops being temporary and starts becoming your standard. Because the goal is not just to feel better for a few days. The goal is not just to have a motivational moment. The goal is to become someone who no longer keeps falling back into the same internal trap. Mastery means you know your triggers. You understand your patterns. You catch them early. You redirect faster. You recover quicker. You move with more self-control, more awareness, and more intention. You stop living on autopilot. You stop giving your past the authority to keep designing your future. You begin operating from choice instead of conditioning. And that changes everything. Your health choices change. Your money choices change. Your relationship standards change. Your work ethic changes. Your confidence changes. Your peace changes. Because mastery is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming conscious enough to lead yourself. So let me say this clearly. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are not failing because you are lazy. You are not behind because you are incapable. You are simply living through a program that was repeated long enough to feel like your identity. But identity can be rewritten. Your past may have trained you. Your pain may have shaped you. Your environment may have conditioned you. Your disappointments may have reinforced certain beliefs. But none of that has to remain your future. Because the moment you become aware of the program, you stop being fully controlled by it. And the moment you start rewiring the pattern, you begin creating a different life, a different body, a different standard, a different emotional reality, a different level of peace, a different future.